Welcome to a fascinating journey through the most intimate folds of monarchical history. Today, we explore an aspect often whispered, but rarely fully understood: consanguinity in royal families. It is a practice that has shaped dynasties and influenced the fate of entire nations. In the meantime, leave a like if you like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Now let's start. What if everything you thought was free will, your health, your mind, even your decisions, was defined long before you were born? What if every fiber of your being was shaped by choices made by people centuries ago, obsessed with keeping their blood intact, pure and separate from the rest of the world? For generations, the most powerful dynasties have sacrificed their heirs' futures to keep the present under control. The result? Tangled family trees, frail bodies, compromised minds, and as empires rose and fell, the invisible marks of bloodlines remained imprinted on their descendants. In this haunting journey, we explore 10 women whose legacies have been deeply marked by an obsession with lineage. By the time we reach number 1, you may never look at history the same way again. In 10th place, we find Isabella II of Spain, Queen from 1833 to 1868. Born into the heart of an already strongly intertwined dynasty, her existence was marked by a dense network of relatives. Her mother was her father's niece, and her paternal grandparents were also her maternal great-grandparents. This closed genetic pattern resulted in poor health for both Isabella and her sister. Married at just 16 to her second cousin, she had 11 children, but only 5 survived infancy. Even more complicated was the persistent rumor that her husband was not the biological father of any of them. An unhappy marriage, fueled by personal tensions and dynastic pressures, culminated in the loss of the crown. But what remains is a story of a young woman imprisoned by the genetic bonds of her lineage. In 9th place, Maria Louisa of Austria, of the Habsburg imperial line, was born to a pair of double first cousins who shared both sets of grandparents. Of her 12 siblings, only 7 reached adulthood. Her lineage was so small that she had only 4 unique genetic great-grandparents, half of what would be biologically expected. Such a degree of inbreeding is now only seen in isolated, closed communities. At 18, she was married to Napoleon Bonaparte, her family's old enemy, in a forced alliance rather than a marriage. She bore the burden of the empire and the even heavier burden of her genetic inheritance. In 8th place is Lorraine Whittaker, whose name does not belong to the history books, but to the present. A resident of a remote American town, she has become a living symbol of the devastating effects of genetic isolation. Her family, documented in a famous reportage, has been for generations the victim and architect of a continuous cycle of incestuous marriages. Lorraine is the mother of Timmy Whittaker, considered one of the most extreme cases of inbreeding genetic disorders still alive. This is not an ancient fairy tale, but a modern nightmare that continues to resonate in the present. 7th place, Maria I of Portugal, known to some as Maria the Pious, but remembered by others as Maria the Mad. Born in 1734, daughter of King Joseph I and Maria Anna of Spain, herself the product of a marriage between an uncle and niece. Dynastic pressure pushed her to replicate the pattern, marrying her own uncle. Their children were deeply affected. Half did not survive long, and others showed signs of impairment. Over time, Maria's mental health also declined, leading to her being declared unfit to rule. Her legacy was shattered, not by war or revolution, but by the relentless weight of repeated bloodshed. Sixth on the list is Marie-Louise Elisabeth d'Orléans, a tragic figure straight out of a Gothic novel. The daughter of a forced marriage between royal cousins, she was later married to another cousin, Prince Charles de Berry. Of their 3 children, none reached adulthood. Maria Louisa took refuge in alcohol from a young age, perhaps to escape a fate she had not chosen. Her personal decline was a reflection of a dynastic line condemned by itself. In 5th place, Princess Alexia of Greece, born in 1965, daughter of King Constantine II and Queen Anne-Marie of Denmark. Her parents were related by a double degree of kinship. They were both 2nd and 3rd cousins. Their respective family trees were intricate, with grandparents who were also siblings. Raised in a modern world, Alexia is a living witness to an ancient legacy, where blood union was seen as a virtue, not a risk. 4th place, Maria Antonia of Austria, a Habsburg whose level of consanguinity surpasses even that of the infamous Charles II of Spain. Her genealogy was not a tree, but a closed circle. Her parents were cousins, her grandparents too. Her genetic structure corresponded to that of a daughter born of 2 brothers. Yet, her story has remained in the shadows, despite representing the biological culmination of the Habsburg ruin, a silent but genetically emblematic figure. In 3rd place, we move to ancient Egypt. Mummies, 317. A and 317b, 2 newborn daughters of Tutankhamun and his half-sister, Ankhesenamun. Fruit of a long tradition of unions between royal brothers, these girls were born already condemned. The deformities found on their mummified bodies testify to the devastating accumulation of genetic errors. Even the pharaohs, considered divine, could not escape the merciless numbers of biology. In 2nd place, Kimberly, not her real name, the protagonist of a modern and terrifyingly real case in Australia. Raised in an isolated family that had practiced inbreeding for generations, Kimberly became one of the most genetically compromised individuals ever recorded. The discovery of the family network led to investigations, arrests, and upheavals. This is not a story of thrones or crowns, but of humanity abandoned, of isolation that breeds genetic monsters without the need for castles. And finally, in 1st place, Cleopatra, the 2nd Philopator. Queen of Egypt, descendant of the Ptolemaic dynasty, she was the product of a political calculation pushed beyond all biological limits. Her parents were brother and sister, as were her grandparents. Her entire existence was defined by the will to keep power within the family. Cleopatra II was not just a queen. She was the extreme materialization of a bloodline that had rejected all genetic diversity. A powerful sovereign, yet the bearer of the collective weight of an entire genealogy closed in on itself. From European palaces to isolated huts, from imperial alliances to forgotten cults, the search for blood purity has left deep scars. These women, each in her own way, are witnesses to how ambition and fear can turn genetics into a trap. Their story teaches us that power without wisdom can poison not only minds, but DNA itself. That's all for today. And what do you think of these noble plots? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like these videos. With a small gesture, You help me support the channel. See you next time. Bye.